Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage and the Peugeot 106 Rallye. Some of you might remember this because I fixed this up 2 years ago. That's 2 years ago because I just went to the MOT with it the other day. This is no longer mine, but it belongs to a very good friend of mine who also owns the Renault 5 GT Turbo. And he lent it to me so I could try it out a bit again. And as you can see, it's actually been painted since I owned it. The new owner did that himself. And he's not completely satisfied just yet, so I'm not going to show you up close. But it is really a nice result, especially considering it's the first time he painted a car. But the MOT came up and he had to hurry up and just reassemble the car real quick. And then I took it to the garage and fixed some stuff. There was a bit of rust in the rear. I had to actually drop the tank and fix some rust in the inner panels, rocker panels. And yeah, a gator was missing on the steering rack, and that was it. It went through the MOT. But then I noticed that the bearings was actually noisy. There is no play in them, but they are noisy. So I'm going to change them today. And it can be difficult to check a bearing when you don't have any play in it. And there is nothing in this one. And one way to do it is by driving the car. Then by turning from side to side, you can hear which side the rumble comes from. You can also try to turn the tire. As you can hear, and I don't know if it picks up, we can hear the disc dragging a little bit. And a little bit of a rumble, because this bearing is not that bad. But on the other side, it's a lot worse. So try to remember this sound. And then try to compare it to the other side that doesn't have any play in it either. But listen to this. And I don't know if it picks up, but it's more on this side than on the other side. In this instance, it's not really a good test because both of them are actually bad. One of them is just not that bad, and this is pretty bad. But I'm going to change both of them. But this sound is a bad bearing sound. Let's take off the wheels. And then this nut, sometimes that can be difficult without putting the car on the ground. But sometimes it's enough with this. And I'm also just going to take off the caliper and the disc. And I need to take out the drive shaft to access the bearing, but I don't want to take the drive shaft completely out, because if I do so, then the gearbox oil will come out and then I have to refill it. I'm gonna undo the lower ball joint and then hopefully I can lower that down, take the drive shaft out and put it to the side. And today I'm not gonna use my hydraulic press. I'm gonna try to use a special tool for bearing change. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, then I will have to use my press. If I need to use my press, I will have to take the entire hub out. And the easiest way for me to do on this one would be to take out the entire shock assembly. But let's try to do that without. Like that. And when it comes to this point, it's a very good idea to have a bucket underneath the gearbox, because if you fail, then you have gearbox oil everywhere and it smells. And the first step is to take out this axle stop or hub. This can be done in several ways. The best way is most likely to get a slide hammer to attach here and then just yank it a couple of times and it will pull out. I don't have one of those, but I have another tool that I think will work. And it is this one. Because this got different kinds of setups for pulling and pushing in bearings. We're not going to use this for the bearing itself, but we're going to use it to try to take out this. This fits behind like so, and then the lower one fits the same way. And it doesn't need to be tied up yet, just to keep it in place. Then the next thing is we're going to use this and some pins to push through the holes for the bolts. That will push on the backside of this thing that we just put on, and that will pull it all apart. Let me show you. Oh, and another important thing, this is going on the backside. This is smaller than the inside diameter of the bearing, so it can push the stop axle through without pushing on the bearing. So this one goes through right here, and through this one. It's threaded on like this. The thread on this tool needs to be greased a lot, and if you don't do that, you will just destroy the tool really quickly. And then these can be put in. That's a bit fiddly. Like so. And then we just need to tighten up the assembly. There we go. Now it's tight. And it will start to push through the holes on the back plate and push the stop axle towards us. Look at the distance between here and here. When I tighten, it pulls out. Like that. And here we have the assembly, and as you can see, the inner bearing race is still attached. This is something that I normally just cut off or grind off. Another possibility is to heat it up with a induction heater. I don't have one of those, unfortunately, but that should be a very good way of doing it. I'm gonna try another way today. First thing we'll have to do is to take the bearing cap off, like that. And then I think we will be able to use this tool for the next job. This one should be able to grab onto the bearing like this. Then we need something to push in right there. What I'm going to put in is this. Something that doesn't go all the way through, of course. And then we can take these. I like these kinds of tools, but sometimes you really have to concentrate to remember how they work and how you can use them in different scenarios. Then we need to grease this one up. And then this will push down and hopefully pull the inner race off. And then we can start the pulling process and hope that it will work. And as you can maybe see, it is separating down there. So it's working like that. A lot better than the cutting process that I normally do. This is the first time that I have ever used this method, and it's a keeper, I can say that for sure. And then on to the next tool, and I just bought this one today. This is quite expensive job to do in tools if you don't have them. It's a lot cheaper than buying a hydraulic press that I already have, but this makes it possible to do stuff a bit quicker. And sometimes it's a really good thing not to take too much apart, because sometimes you break more than you fix, so this could be really good. But before using this tool, we'll have to remove a snap ring. Because right in here on the back side is a snap ring, you can see it just there. Eye protection is a good idea when working with these. Like that, it's out. Oh! And then it's a matter of selecting the right bits. You need to find something, this is the new bearing, that the bearing fits in, but just exactly like this one. That goes on the back side. Then this one goes on top of that. Then we need to find an adapter piece that fits inside of here without pushing on the casing, but only in the bearing. So far it's a bit more difficult than just using my hydraulic press, but I am learning this tool at the moment, and if it works, it will be really nice. I actually think it will be working just fine. I just need to figure it out pretty much. And also I think this bearing is really cooked in there and fused together. Yeah, there we go. It's not uncommon that it needs a lot of force, because I know that from my hydraulic press. It can sometimes be 10 tons or maybe more to break it loose, but I think we got it now. Like that. There we go. I should be able to pull it out this way if there's room enough, and there is. There we go. And then next up, we're going to try to push the bearing back in. The new bearing is on. I've cleaned the inside. And of course it's important to make sure that it all senses. Yep, so it's going in nice and smoothly. I think it's in. Now I just need to loosen it up. Yeah, I should have pulled the assembly around. It would have been a lot easier for me to push, because it's easier to turn on the bearing side, the pressure bearing. Big surprise there. And the bearing is in. Nice. Time to install a new snap ring. The last thing is going to be to reinstall this hub. And the way I'm going to do that is to push this tool through right there, and then this one like that. And then the bolt on the back side. Yeah, there's a lot of tools involved in this. And just to make it clear, this is not an instruction, but more like an inspiration on how to do stuff, or at least try to see if you can do stuff. That is the way I go about it. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it's destroys something else. So there we go. There we go, the new bearing is installed, and it's silent, just like it is supposed to be. So the bearing is installed in the 106 Rallye. This is another way to do it than what I usually do. I haven't used the hydraulic press today. This time around it was more difficult than it would have been to just use the hydraulic press, but that was down to me not really knowing how to use the tools just yet. So next time I will do this, I think this will be just about as easy as the hydraulic press, but there is more muscle power required, so it can be a bit harder on your arms and so on. But the great thing is that I'm able to change the bearing without taking stuff apart. For instance, on the C25 camper I got, there was a lot of really rusty bolts that I would like to just leave alone for now, but I would like to be able to change the bearing. So that way it's a nice method, and it's quicker, and yeah, you don't risk the possibility of damaging ball joints and all that if you don't have to take them apart. So that's great. Anyway, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.